And we are live, probably the last live for 2023. Hey, everybody, it's Wei, co founder of Limitless Leader. And if in case you don't know who I am, also the co creator of the Scale Up and Out program, where over the last 20 years, my business partner Lisa and I have helped thousands of entrepreneurs with our patented technology to scale up and out of their business. Today's a little bit about real talk. It's talking about why you should always be scaling and growing as an entrepreneur. So if you're not an entrepreneur watching this, or you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, then maybe you should watch this. But it's a little bit of real talk, a little bit of hard love based on a lot of the conversation I've been having with current and past clients this time of the year. This time of the year tends to bring back people coming down and checking in with me and having conversations, a little bit of virtual eggnog, and what has come up a lot is talking about the plans for growth in 2024. A little bit of hard love for some old past clients that have fallen into the lull of just maintaining. And what I'm talking about is this is why the topic for this live stream today. And if you are if you do have scaling campaigns scheduled for 2024, then great. If you don't, we need to have a talk, because as an entrepreneur, you should always be scaling and growing. And how you know that you probably need to pay attention is that looking over the last year or the past couple years, and I got to tell you, across the board, this past year has been, as my couple of my clients and I have put it, it's been gnarly. It's been really gnarly for both me, for a lot of our clients, a lot of loss, a lot of, ups and downs and craziness. But the 2024 landscape looks pretty darn bright, right? And so we're all very excited about that. But let's talk about that, is that I want you to think about, if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're a service-based entrepreneur, or you are an online programs or course creator type of entrepreneur, and you have teams of people that are helping you in all three pillars of your business. I'm talking about the easy three that we talk about: acquisitions, fulfillment, and operations. What you want to look at is that how has your business grown in 2023, 2022, 2021? And I was calling out a few of my past clients, and they were saying, oh yeah, we've been doing great, 8 to 10% growth every single year. And so to which I responded and said, oh good, so you're just keeping up with inflation. He says, what do you mean? It's like, when a business is only growing 10% or less every single year, they're essentially maintaining. Okay, if you're not even growing 10%, and I had one client that says, oh, exactly the same from 1 year to the next, last 3 years, we've been holding steady. It's like, yeah, but the value of what you're producing from a revenue standpoint is dropping. So you're actually shrinking. You're actually not growing. You're going in the opposite direction. So if you are 10% or less, you want to pay attention. If you are more than that and you're not at, say, like 18, 20%, maybe it'd be good to pay attention too. And the reason why this is such an important thing is that if you are an entrepreneur and you are just maintaining at 10% or less of growth, there are far better ways to generate income and revenue for yourself, for the people in your world, for your families, because you're essentially, if you're only growing at 8 to 10% or 10% or less every single year, what you've created is a job for yourself that requires all the responsibilities of owning a business, but it's just a job, right? To which case, I will say, here's the hard love piece. Go get a job, because it's far easier there's far easier ways to make money than being an entrepreneur where you're only growing like 10% or less every single year. That's real talk right there. I want you to be stress-free if you're going to make that kind of money and you're happy with maintaining that. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong if you're an entrepreneur with teams and everything and you're only growing 10% or less every single year. I'm just saying, like, for your livelihood, for your happiness, for your stress, get a job. Take those talents and skills that you have and go get a job. This is the tough love. And that's about the extent of the tough love today in this live stream. Okay. Now, what I do want to talk about is how do we shift that and change that? But we first have to understand why entrepreneurs as a whole stop scaling beyond 10% or less every single year. 10% or less is safe. 10% or less is often, based on what we've seen, is due to scaling burnout. scaling anxiety, multiple attempts, lifelong attempts at scaling and failing, right? Especially if you have teams, the morale continues to drop every time we try to grow or have a campaign, and it doesn't go so well. You can't hide it from your organization if you run this massive scaling campaign or growth campaign, and maybe you hit the goal, but then it yo-yos back because something happens in the system, something breaks in the ecosystem, right? And it's a combination of two different things, either a people problem or a systems problem, right? Either way, a lot of times what we find consistently across the board when entrepreneurs stop focusing on scaling and growth and they're just say, well, I'm making pretty good money. I mean, literally had clients making $500,000 a year and they just stop growing. I said, there's far better ways to do it because you're just maintaining now. And then what's the point of having all this extra stress about owning and running a business when you could just go get a job or use your money to do something else, right? Eliminate all the challenges and the costs of running business, take all the money you've made and then become an investor or something like that. Right? So that basically, whenever I interview people or talk to people who have stopped scaling, they've lost their vision of why they became an entrepreneur to begin with. They lost their ambition. They burnt out. They failed so many times. They just said, well, let me just be complacent and happy with where we're at. Right? To which case I said, well, maybe it's a good idea to start thinking about transitioning out of that business. Right? But if that's not what you want to do, then let me tell you what we do to help our clients across the board create bulletproof scaling strategies. In other words, what's a bulletproof scaling strategy? Every time you scale, you can sustain it. So if you increase your business by 2x, 3x, or 10x, and once you get there, there is no yo-yo effect. You stay there. It becomes the new standard in terms of monthly and annual revenues. That's what we call bulletproof scaling strategies. And the nice thing is when we help our clients install and build this out, customized foundation, a bulletproof foundation of how to scale in their organization, they can rinse and repeat. So it's not like I have to be there all the time to kind of say, okay, now we got to do this again. Now we got to do it. Once you build it out, okay, get this. Once you build it out the way I'm going to share with you, all you have to do every time you want to run another scaling campaign to 10x your business again, or 2x or 3x or 5x, whatever it is that you are wanting to do, you'll have the confidence that you can do it again and again and again. The nice thing about this repeatable process, it not only creates consistent and sustainable growth, but it also can help you create a system where the organization or your business can grow with or without you there. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. I'm going to break it down real quick because it's part of our framework of creating sustainable scaling to help our clients scale up and out of their businesses. And it's all part of the first phase of our entire system. So this is like handled right from the get, okay? Our phase one is all about foundations. And the reason why a lot of people don't do phase one in the rest of the world is because phase one is not sexy. It's really kind of boring. There's not a lot of movement. There's a lot of building and foundation development and simulations and testing and making sure that you have the confidence to scale as much as you want whenever you want. The nice thing is if you're willing to bear the boringness of it all, you only have to do it once. And then once you do it, every time you scale or every time you want to run another growth campaign, guess what? You just tweak a few pieces of data and then you just do it again. Okay, so what happens is that there's four main components. Okay, the first component is making sure that your metrics, your KPIs, your key performance indicators, we are taught traditional KPIs. You have to have your sales and marketing key performance indicators that indicate growth success, right? Then you have your fulfillment key performance indicators and metrics. Okay, great. Are we taking care of our clients? Are they going through the system and getting results? Are they also willing to refer? Or, all those different things. So there's key performance indicators there too. Operations, keeping the lights on and making sure the company runs, basically the mechanism, those, when we scale and grow our business, there are key performance indicators there. You can Google, you can YouTube, there's all kinds of resources out there for those traditional metrics. The reason why those traditional metrics alone do not contribute to sustainable long-term scaling is because it's very impersonal, okay? You're an entrepreneur, you're a human being, you have your own personal reasons to scale. The problem is, how do we convert that into a metric? Well, our system does that. What we do is we convert all the reasons why you want to scale, all the time metrics of freedom that you want, we convert that all to a metric, but then you make sure you put that, once you convert to a metric, you put that into your spreadsheet for all the other KPIs. So you're not the only one that can help you get to the bigger reason why you want to scale and grow the business. It also kind of showcases the value systems you have in your organization that the rest of the organization, the rest of your team can be on board with. Okay. So that's the first thing. The next thing is, and this is surprising, I mean, and if you don't know, if you've had challenges doing this, you're not the only one. Fortune 500 companies also have had challenges doing it. It blows my mind. Is being able to categorize all activities in the organization, in your company, distilling it down to three major pillars. Okay, we call it the easy three: acquisitions, sales, marketing, anything that acquires a new business, new client, new customer. Second is fulfillment. Third is operations. That's it. That's it. I don't care if you're a startup or a Fortune 500 company. All you have to do is that, and once you organize it that way, it reveals a lot of mislabeling or miscategorization in the organization that does contribute to bottlenecks in the entire ecosystem of growth. Okay, so once we get clear on those, on the easy three, the three main pillars, then we move to what I think is the fun piece, which will eliminate all scaling anxiety. So if you want to have 100% confidence in your next growth campaign without any have the anxiety that, oh no, what if we grow and we break the company, right? Because that's a legitimate fear that a lot of our clients have had coming into the engagement of working with us. So the first simulation model, or what we like to call a scaling stress test model, is called the 100K per month stress test. Okay. Now, even if your goal is not to make 100K a month in this next campaign or whatever your challenge, whatever your goals are, run it anyway, especially if you haven't made 100K a month before, because it's a fantastic way to test your entire business to see if it will break. Okay. The beautiful thing about these simulation models is that you can run the test to see what will happen before you actually grow your business to get there. You waste time, energy, and money investing in a campaign to grow your business, not realizing what's going to break. So this simulation model basically run 100K. The simplified version is you run 100K a month through the entire Easy 3 to see what gaps of or potential points of failure there are going to be in your organization. When you identify those gaps, then we call those scaling gaps. You apply what we call scaling gap spackle, okay, which is to cover up those gaps. The choices that you have to spackle or to resolve those points of failure would be either a tech stack, you resolve it with using technology, or human stack, which you use human beings either already in your organization, depending on your resources, or you hire somebody to cover that gap. Then, after you apply gap spackle to the simulation model, you run it again. Now, I recently had a conversation with somebody who goes, wait, we already make way more than 100K a month. I said, great, give me the most you've ever made in a month. And they said, $1 million. I said, okay, great, 10x it. It's like, what? 10x it. So if you already are at the 6-figure a month mark, just take the most your company has ever done in a month and just 10x it. So in that particular case, $1 million a month per se, you 10x that, then you run 10 million a month through the ecosystem. And even if that isn't your goal, but it will really stress test the entire ecosystem, because then think about the confidence that you'll have knowing that even if you have $10 million a month in new business through your organization, it can still handle it. Scaling to 3 million a month, 4 million a month, you don't have that scaling anxiety anymore. Okay. Now, the next simulation model is really important because remember, the goal is to scale you as a business owner up and out of the day-to-day grind of the business. So you have the freedom to own the business, work on the business without having to be in the business. Okay. And so there is what we call a time freedom stress test scaling test. Stress test, right? And this simulation is basically running after you do the 100K per month or more scenario. You've already put the gap spackles in place. Now you want to see if your organization can continue scaling and growing without you there. That is the key to ultimate freedom and fulfillment as an entrepreneur for your business, so you can be expansive and do other things that you want to do. Because I'm telling you, most true entrepreneurs will never stop entrepreneuring. Okay, I don't even know if that's a word, but it's a word now. Okay, so what you want to do with the time freedom stress test is you work on increments of hours. We like to work in increments of 3, okay, of time away from the business. Okay, so you start off with really simple. Take yourself 3 hours a day or 3 hours a week, wherever you want to start, out of the business and see if the business can still run on its own and grow on its own. The next piece is 3 weeks. Take 3 weeks out of the business. Next is 3 months. Next is 3 quarters. And if you're really, really ambitious, whether or not you're going to do that doesn't matter. This is a simulation model to really, truly test the structures that we have, the infrastructure of your business. Take yourself 3 years out of the business and see if it continues to grow. Run the scenarios. Okay. I mean, business coaches and business strategists and consultants always have us do 1 year milestone, 3 year milestone, 5 year milestone, 10 year milestone. Why not run this simulation to see that if you're not in the business, I mean, think about the confidence that you'll have now of the business you've created. If you could step away for 3 years and it continues to grow at the rate that you envision it to, just think about the confidence that you'll have doing other things. Okay, the confidence that you have in expanding the business, expanding the offerings, trying different things, because you'll have that peace of mind that whatever you do, the business will be fine. Okay. Now, there are other things and other metrics that we do in the subsequent phases, but this is the very beginning. And if you get this done right, if you take the time and energy, again, you only have to do this really once for the business. If you have multiple businesses, do it once for every business. Once you build this bulletproof foundation, this strategy that you can run over and over again, it's going to save you time, energy, money, stress, anxiety, and it'll keep you from scaling burnout so that you don't end up just being in maintenance mode, like as running a business, which will then incur my hard love as I just get out of the business and just get a job or get a business or just do a consulting thing where you're just getting paid without all the overhead. It's not worth it, right? So with that being said, I know I get a little bit carried away with this, but hopefully you found that valuable. I mean, here's the thing. I have a ton of resources, whether it be worksheets and private video trainings that I've created for our clients already in our library. And so if this is something that you want to dive deeper on and you want to get more details, because obviously I'm just giving you kind of broad strokes about it, then just reach out to me, comment below, or just DM me, and I'll be more than happy to give you free access to it. Because, I've seen way too many brilliant, amazing entrepreneurs just squander their talents, their skills, their ideas, their creations, the solutions to the problems that in the world that entrepreneurs solve, just because they couldn't figure out how to effectively scale and help more people, right? And that's really what it comes down to. And if I can just give you a piece of information or a resource that can immediately turn things around, doesn't even matter if I work with you, if you pay me for my services, at least I was able to kind of help you propagate the impact that you want to make as an entrepreneur. Really, that's what it comes down to, right? So anyway, again, this is probably a live stream for 2023. Look forward to a lot more of this kind of stuff. Just going to keep giving stuff away to help as many people as we can in 2024, because 2024 is going to be very different from 2023. And if you have that ambition, if you have that vision, and if you have that desire, hey, let's connect. Let's have a conversation. I'll be more than happy to help any way I can. Okay. Other than that, have an amazing turn of the year. Happy New Year, and then just a handful of days. And I will talk to you all soon. All right.